Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Lauren O'Crew, and I'm a senior manager here at SolarWinds, specializing in ITSM. And I'm thrilled to be co-presenting with Michael Clark, one of our expert ITSM solutions engineers. Michael, thank you so much for joining me. Do you want to start by saying hello and giving us an introduction?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much, Lauren, for inviting me to this informative webcast. My name is Michael Clark. I'm a solutions engineer for the SolarWinds Service Desk, and I came to SolarWinds almost 4 years ago as a previous client. In 2018, I implemented and administrated the service desk for a few years at a hospital, a large hospital here in Texas. 3,000 employees, almost 300 technicians working in the tool across many different departments and managing about 6,000 assets. So, really excited about our conversation today, and thanks again for inviting me.
No problem. Thanks so much for joining us. As everyone now knows, we're getting it straight from the source. So I'm so excited to talk to you today, being someone who has worked in service management and implementing processes that work for their organization and their team. I think, you offer that really unique perspective of what's actually going to work, on the ground when people need it, where they need it. So I'm really looking forward to our chat today. So um, we did this slightly backwards, so I'm going to go back one. Over the next 40 minutes, we're going to talk about the 54% improvement playbook, and what that um, is a look at our State of ITSM report, where we analyzed over 2,000 ITSM systems. And we found a group of top 10 GenAI adopters who took their, initial systems and improved them by 54%, reducing their average incident resolution time by that much. So we're going to talk through maybe what strategies they use, what, actual capabilities they use to do that, and how it all ties into the report that we put together just this month to see, how different organizations are saying Gen AI make massive changes. So that being said, um, Michael, I'm sure you can back me up on this. Those organizations who saw that 54% reduction in their resolution time, they didn't just flip an AI switch, did they?
You're absolutely correct. It does require learning your data. So, our generative AI is basically looking at your database of tickets, as well as your solutions or knowledge articles that are in the service desk. So, having that information in there, allowing the Gen AI to build that language model off of your data is really helpful to kind of start the ball rolling with Gen AI.
Very nice. And with that, let's get into the agenda for the day. So, we're not just going to read you the report, we're going to deconstruct what we found in the report. We'll talk you through the key findings just to set the stage of what change we're talking about seeing. Then Michael's going to take over and show you what capabilities those organizations were using to achieve the results that we saw in the report. He'll show us how to embed Gen AI into, our core ITSM tasks like incident resolution, that can really help reduce the manual work that agents see day to day. And then after that, we'll tie it all together with some actionable items. We want you to go away with this knowing, okay, here's what I'm going to start working on. And we're going to put that in just a simple blueprint for you. So with that, let's have a look at our first key finding. So to understand the playbook of the top performers, we first need to look at the baseline. So, what impact does Gen AI have on the average organization? We analyzed customers' average incident resolution time before and after they enabled the Gen AI features in Service Desk. So, these particular stats are based on those people who had enabled Gen AI and what they were performing before they did that and after. So it's, organizations are so unique, they're so different, they have their own processes, but this is a nice baseline because it shows us what those exact organizations were doing before and after. So taking like for like processes and seeing the reduction in resolution time. And to be frank, the results were clear. On average of this group, teams saw a 17.8% reduction in resolution time, which is also an average time savings of almost 5 hours per incident. So tell me, Michael, from your perspective, what does almost 5 hours really mean for a service desk team when talking about reducing the resolution time?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great result here because what we're doing is we're going to save that time to work on more complex issues that may require more resources. So again, we're just starting to build those efficiencies over time with the use of the generative AI for those constant issues that we see come in often.
And that's a really great point, Michael. And I think, from your experience working in ITSM and implementing these things yourself, you don't have one ticket per day, right? So that 5 hours per ticket is
Exactly.
multiplied over and over and over again. So, think about this. If your team handles 5,000 incidents a year, which is actually, I would guess, on the lower side of the scale, that 4.87 hours per incident adds up to almost 24,000 hours of work that can be reclaimed to do those strategic projects that you talk about. Like, it's mind blowing, isn't it, Michael? Like, how
It
can we
really is.
even think about like the strategic projects we can work on in 24,000 hours?
Right, exactly. And not only that, but there are, some issues that come up where it does require extra time, maybe more collaboration and resources. So we're basically freeing up our technicians to work on those other items as well and resolve more complex issues a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, great point. And we all know that agent burnout is a real risk in ITSM. So I think, first and foremost, reducing those hours might actually just bring the group into a place where they're feeling comfortable with their workload, with their feeling like they're able to take control of their day and they're really able to, put some focus in each ticket, not just constantly trying to keep up with their day-to-day tasks.
Absolutely. Great point.
Okay, so let's go to our second key finding. We're just building now to that 54%. So the second group that we looked at within the report are those customers who had enabled GenAI and those customers who have never enabled GenAI, right? So our first group was the same customers before and after to see their own changes. And this is those who have started implementing GenAI and those who have never implemented GenAI. And what we're seeing is that the efficiency gap is growing. So between these customers, those who use it and those who don't, there's a 30% reduction in incident resolution time, which is almost 10 hours. So double the hours, almost double the percentage reduction in those teams. And I think, when we see this number, we can say, okay, maybe the teams that enabled Gen AI were closer to implementing these things. Maybe they were already operating more efficiently. What's your take on this when we look at, our before and afters and our Gen AI, non-Gen AI customers with this expanded efficiency gap? What's your feeling on this, Michael?
Well, I think it's apparent that for folks that are adopting the generative AI for reducing keystrokes, reducing the number of clicks, it's apparent in the data that Gen AI is actually a wonderful tool to help our technicians, just improve those uh, time to resolve as well as documentation and communication with the users. So uh, it's really apparent in the data that there's a real added value with Gen AI.
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's, there's really something to be said for an organization